Do you dream to retire before your parents or see minor children under your care retire as millionaires? Then, folks, you are in the right place. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you. Welcome to the Muslim Women Invest podcast. I am your host, Dr. Miral Azam Khalil. For the greater part of the past decade, I have invested in the US stock market, US farmland, and real estate, put over 100 families towards creating generational wealth through minor investing. In this podcast, we talk all things money and empower Muslim women to take steps towards financial freedom through busting myths and small, bite sized, actionable steps. So let's begin, starting with the dua of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, or Prophet Moses. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. بسم الله. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm happy to be back, and let's begin. Today's topic is investing and the state of the US market today. My name is Dr. Miral Azam Khalil, and I help families just like yours invest. Today is 18th of June 2023, and I wanted to discuss the state of the US stock market, the state of the US financial market. Half of 2023 has passed. We have some good news. We have still a long way to go recovering from the pandemic. There are fears of recession. The real estate mortgage rates are sky high, but the stock market has rebounded. So let's begin. Let's begin with the istiada. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah rahmanir rahim. And with Hazrat Musa's dua, Rabbi shahri sadri wa yasirli amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. And with Surah Al-Asr, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to guide each other to the truth and guide each other to the patience. I hope today's session is beneficial to you, and whatever is not beneficial, I hope that is not registered with you. So let's begin. Inflation is cooling. That is a good thing. For people who don't know what is inflation, inflation is when we are paying a lot more money for the simple goods like food and clothing and housing and the energy market. When the end consumer, such as us, is paying much more money for the same products, and the increase is not 2%, which is an annual increase which the Federal Reserve Board, which controls the inflation in the market, they aim for 2%. If it's more than 2% increase, so for example, if you're paying $500 in rent, and 2% of $500 would be $10. So the rent next year can be raised up to $510. If it's more than that, then we are heading towards inflation. And right now, last year inflation was up by 8%, and now we are close to 4%. So we are doing really good. But the FRB announced on June 13th that further interest hike rates are not off the table. What that means is that they have been trying to cool the inflation. They've been trying to bring the prices down by increasing interest rates. And that means that people have less buying power, and that is what cools the inflation. That is capitalist economy for you. But having said that, there was no increase in an interest rate this past week, and the stock market celebrated it by the stock prices soaring, increase in investor belief, increase in investor sentiment, and the market being bullish. And by bullish, it means that the market is paying dividends to its investors. The stock prices are rising, and we're making money. So it's been a good boost from last year. The S&P 500 is up. What is the S&P 500? It is the top 500 companies that are trading on the US stock market. It's up by 9%. Normally, the stock market gives you an annual return. The S&P 500, investing in the top 500 companies, gives you an annual return of 8%. People say it's 10%, but we adjust for inflation. So it's normally a rate, we calculate it out to be 8%, and it's up by 9%, guys. So that's really, really good. Why do you think the stock market has raised? It's raised over the excitement over artificial intelligence. Stocks like Google, Microsoft, NVDIA have been uh, the cause of this rally. And so if you are investing in the S&P 500, you've already felt the benefit of it. If not, people who have individually invested in these particular companies are also reaping benefits. Oil prices in the energy sector. So in April 2023, the OPEC, which is it's a group of countries that produce oil, and so they control the oil, and they're able to monopolize and manipulate oil prices. To be very frank, they met on June 4th, and Saudi Arabia wanted the barrel prices for oil to be raised up to 80%, or it's threatening to decrease production. And so this is how the oil prices keep rising. They're on a rise. The problem with this is that even though Saudi Arabia controls 15% of the world's oil reserves, there has been there's not been a shock to the energy sector. And it's shocking because every time Saudi Arabia or a country threatens, the oil prices always hike, and their threats are usually useful. But because there's a looming danger of recession, people do not have the extra money to spend, and they're saving money, they're not spending money, they're not going out as much, and they're not. Um, they're scared of the coming recession, to be in layman's language. And also China's sluggish rebound. So China has not fully rebound from the pandemic and its effects, and the production costs, and the slow line of production, it hasn't come up to its optimal. And so for now, the energy sector hasn't really peaked, even though we've had oil cut, not only threats, but oil cuts have been done by Saudi Arabia, which means they have decreased their oil production when there is less of what you need, and the prices obviously rise. So we are still at $70 a barrel. Saudi Arabia wants it up to be at $80 a barrel. This is something that is happening in the economy, and we should all be aware of it. And this kind of literacy is what empowers us to make good decisions. Financial literacy is everything, guys. So should you invest in the stock market? Always is the answer. Anybody who has been investing in the stock market, anybody who is closely familiar with how the stock market works, or is financially literate to the least, is going to tell you should always invest in the stock market. Warren Buffett says that every American should be investing in the S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies trading on the United States stock market, and you can invest in them through a fund called the index fund, which is a basket that tracks these top 500 companies. So the simple answer is yes, guys. The economy always goes up and down. It's a roller coaster ride. It's up and it's down. And people who fail in the stock market are the ones who are gonna jump mid-flight. So jump mid-ride, whatever. Um, so don't jump, guys. It's always a good time to invest in the US stock market. The United States is still has a huge economy, and it has companies that have done wonders. The different sectors, especially the tech sector this year, has done fabulously. What about if you have minors under your care? I have always told everyone close to me, my relatives, my friends, my actual clients, that time is money, literally, in the stock market. The more time your money spends in the stock market is how much more money you're going to have at the end of the day. So if you want to retire early, you have to start investing early for these children. Open up Roth IRAs for them, open up minor accounts for them. um, it's going to pay its dividends. Whatever money you have, it's very accessible nowadays. Even if you have a dollar, there's absolutely no fee to open these accounts, and you can start investing on behalf of your child. And honestly, have them sit with you, tell them why it's important, tell them how to budget, tell them why is it important to learn how to save and to invest. Show them the benefit of doing it. You have to play the part of not only investing the money for them, but also being the role model and applying the principles of financial literacy, and actively looking for knowledge, and actively looking for engagement, actively bettering yourself. And so, um, where to begin? Emergency fund. So before we start investing, I always remind people that they need to have an emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? It's 6 months of your rent or mortgage, bills including gas, electric, water, 6 months of grocery money, your cellular bills, all in the form of a cash. Okay, so that if something were to happen, you can stay afloat for 6 months, and you can get a new job, or if there's a career change or a life change, you can adjust to it, and you have enough time to mourn or enough time to adjust to the new arrangement. And then you take advantage of breaks in accounts like the Roth IRA. You can be self-employed to open that account for yourself and for your kids, and we have discussed these in detail later on. And a lot of my YouTube videos also have a lot of depth about which account should you invest in first, and everything. But this live, I conducted this to formally let you guys know I'm back. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to see that a lot of you are taking interest in the financial literacy. You have started to understand that finances are financial freedom allows you to do a lot of not allows you to pursue a fulfilled life. You're able to help more people if you are financially free, and it's got the kind of knowledge that multiplies not even just your wealth, but it's something that nobody can steal from you. So that is all for this week, guys. See you next week. Bye bye. I hope you enjoyed the show. Let's end our podcast with a very powerful surah from the Quran. A surah is a chapter of the Quran, and this surah is Surat Al Asr. I started my investing journey and began teaching investing because of this surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that only people who guide people to the right way, to the truth, and to patience are the ones who are going to be successful. Let's end on this beautiful surah, and I will see you later. Bye for now, guys.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله